this another edition of Serpent Sermons. This is a show that I've been wanting to do for quite a while. I have Adam Belial with me this evening. Welcome, Adam.
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I am here to greet all the brothers and sisters in the black light. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan. Adam, could you tell us just a little bit about yourself? How exactly did you get into these numinous arts?
First, I was about 27 years old when I started to contemplate the world with the help, of course, of David Icke at the time. I haven't known before anything about how system works, so it was always somehow confusing to me. I always wanted to understand what is happening. Why are the things the way they are? What's going on behind the curtains? So I have always avoided the spiritual path because earlier in my life I avoided spiritual paths, although I have tried some systems, but generally I was avoiding it altogether, including meditation. Reason being, I always had this inner fire of ego. My parents always left me to myself. I had normal family. Yes, I did have normal family, but my parents did leave me a lot of time for myself. So they did not try to indoctrinate me with anything. I was allowed to perceive the world as I do. So at about 5 years old, I started training Krav Maga. Krav Maga, the martial art, you know that? You know what martial art I'm talking about?
I took a couple of Krav Maga lessons at Tierney's Karate. It's a very good self-defense lethal. I was a small little asthmatic-sized kid, like in my teens there, but I took probably 3 or 4 lessons in high school, and it's fucking powerful. Like one elbow, just by throwing yourself to the ground, you can kill somebody so easily, and it doesn't take a whole lot of strength either.
Yeah, you know, I was browsing the internet one day, and I've seen this commercial for Krav Maga. It was not a powerful commercial. It was just like advice for people who might think ahead, because there might be a time when traffic jams will, economy collapses and chaotic cities where you might fight for your survival, but not only fight in the combat sense, but running across cars, for example. So it was kind of fun of commercial. So I attend those classes. It was about 200 guys the first. 2 years later, it was about 8 of us, and it was pretty intense. I liked it very much. But 3 months into that, I learned how to murder a person with fingers. With you just using your 3 normal fingers, you could easily murder a person. So I repeat, I did not hate the Jews before I knew about Krav Maga. There is something special to hate about that. They teach children in manners of self-defense. They call that self-defense. It's ridiculous. It's art of murder. So this experience with Krav Maga made me thinking, when I got to know how a system works and who owns the money, where all the diamonds exported from, and listening to David Icke, who started combining all those information about the royal families, the ways of money, and when he started to talk about the other species that might be living, sharing our same space, then I started to understand that there is so much confusion, it's absolutely impossible to navigate through. It's impossible to cut through these veils of confusion, because we all know it's being propagated. The mass confusion is being propagated constantly, so it's very hard to navigate. Do you agree?
Yes.
So, at that time, it became clear to me that I must enlighten. I must receive enlightenment. I must enlighten myself somehow. I must gain enlightenment. So I started with lucid dreams, and I did this intense work with 100 nights of lucid dreaming, of trying to lucid dream. And somewhere in the midst of that, I had this extremely beautiful dream. Nothing like it before, nothing like it before. It was this extremely black and deep temple, vertical temple viewed from above, extreme depth, extreme beauty. The word extreme is an ugly word, I don't know it. So it was so beautiful, beyond explanation. It was all black, so deep black, and you could see everything in this darkness. And deeply inside this temple, there was a lying monster, a monster that was like similar to sleeping monster, fish-like monster. And this dream was and I was accompanied by another entity who was like me, and we were both invisible, and we did something interesting there. This dream was so life-changing for me that from that night, I began pursuing this vision. I wanted to know, how is it possible that I can see in darkness something so beautiful? And if I try to describe it in words, it doesn't sound beautiful at all. It sounds black, extreme depth, monster inside. It doesn't sound nice. But when you see it,
like
living here on Earth, we can objectively say some things are more beautiful than others, and we can say, I will first postulate here that fire as a phenomenon, as a thing, fire is very beautiful. Do you agree?
I do.
And I would also say that our sun that lights up our day is the most beautiful thing our eyes can see living on this earth.
Without it, there wouldn't be any plants, there wouldn't be any vine, grapes, there wouldn't be wine, there wouldn't be alcohol, there wouldn't be food, there wouldn't be animals, there wouldn't be nothing. I mean, that little torch in the sky literally gives us everything. It gives us the earth. It gives us everything that we know. But that's just in this dimension. We see with our five senses. Some people have their 6 or more senses awakened. But I know where you're going with this. And the problem with language is like, you don't have fucking words. You don't have words for this stuff. You really don't have words to describe some of these multidimensional phenomena.
No, but it's very interesting that when you witness some of these levels, sometimes you really know what it is what you're seeing. Sometimes you really do know. And this time when I saw this black temple, what I haven't known what that is. 10 years after that, I learned that that was the temple of Apsu. But before I knew it was the temple of Apsu, I only knew it was extreme beauty. It was something that it was the most beautiful thing I have ever experienced. So, if we can objectively agree that the sun is the most beautiful thing you can see with your eyes here living on Earth, then we can measure what kind of beauty I'm here talking about. This is high above time, above all conceptualizations. And we will speak about this later, many times, of course. So,
yeah.
I'm bleeding again. I was pursuing this dream, this blackness, and of course, I picked up knowledge from Hinduism, many sages and gurus, of course. I paid a lot of money. I paid a fuck ton of money to various gurus. Somewhere in this whole search, I used the absolute logic. So, when I learned that we live in the matrix, which is controlled by fear, do you agree that matrix is controlled by fear?
Yes.
There are no
there's a lot of
walls around us.
There's a lot of fear, and then I mean the fucking religious shit, fear of hell, the political shit, fear of not having a job, fear of homelessness, fear of jail if you don't obey the government. It controls the world.
Yes. So there's also this special kind of fear, old fear, very old fear. It is the anxiety of not doing, anxiety of not growing, of missing out of existence, missing out on existence. So there's this interesting phenomenon in human mind, in this robotic mind, where it can realize itself only within a context. So what it makes us do, it makes us behave degenerately in ways that we abolish the human potential, the real animal potential that is within us. We change that for contexts. So we are like monkeys, and we use those contexts to jump from one to another. We kind of turn the blind eye on the in-betweens. But those in-betweens are the hunting grounds for the predators that have occupied this realm. Did you understand what I'm talking about?
Yes. Just beyond 5 sense reality, what most people would think are aliens, interdimensional beings. We're in a fucking multi-dimensional ocean, a sea of all kinds of shit going on. All kinds of different beings and races and stuff and creatures in the inner planes. I had a similar like truth journey. So I was like raised into enemy religion. I was raised Catholic. There all the fear of hell, fear of the devil, Satan is your worst enemy, and all that bullshit. And I was curious too how the world really fucking works. And I went into the conspiracy zone too. The David Icke, not necessarily David Icke, but like a lot of like Christian YouTubers, Satanic Illuminati. But eventually I got red-pilled by a certain YouTuber. He's no longer online right now, Uncle Bearheart. He pointed me in the right direction. And then I
Fucking Bearheart. I love him so much. I love that guy.
Then I got red-pilled by exposing Christianity and Joy of Satan, and I was in Joy of Satan for a while, and then there's the dogma.
I love Joy of Satan very much.
Dogma von Grameneu and some of the anti-cosmic stuff, they're all great, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't really what they all had bits and pieces of the truth, you know, so like Joy of Satan has this little tile over here, Cathedral of the Black Goat had this puzzle piece over there, a lot of the NAA 218 stuff had some puzzle pieces, but you all put it all together and you make a giant fucking mosaic. And then a friend on Facebook, he showed me an interview with Mark Smith, and that's how I was introduced to Primal Craft. And I was listening to this guy, I'm like, holy fucking shit! I had to read more about this. It was like nothing else I've ever read before.
Yeah. So you said Joy of Satan had bits and pieces of truth and Order of Nine Angles also. And
yep.
I will not get into the details here, but Joy of Satan did actually have the whole truth. Actually, yes. The whole truth. But the problem is with our general lack of wisdom. The problem is with people taking things for granted. People of today are very different than people from, let's say, 50s. I've seen on YouTube some interviews with people, it was black and white, people in 50s being asked strange questions and normal questions. Questions like, what do you think about the aliens? Is there alien life? And questions like, would you ever marry an ugly man? Questions like that. And you see every and each one of those people being interviewed had their original thoughts about this. It was very interesting. Some people did have imaginative things to say, some people did not, but always it was original thought. And when I see people speaking today, especially on the street, giving interviews, it seems like they're using pre-packaged opinions which have been approved by some currents of thinking. It's really ridiculous.
Like a non-playable character, pre-programmed response.
Yeah, pre-programmed response.
If you play a computer game, if you ever play a computer game in like one of those RPGs, and you can ask the same question, and every single fucking character is like the same, like, dialogue loop over and over again, the same lines. There's no originality.
Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 had much better dialogues than today's games. You should play Disco Elysium, though. Disco Elysium is shit. It's the greatest game ever made, man. It's the greatest RPG. So what I actually wanted to say, as Joy of Satan did have the whole truth, but the way people think today is not wise enough to understand Joy of Satan. There are lucky people, lucky like me, like you, lucky enough to take from Joy of Satan that what they wanted to give us. To me, it meant complete enlightenment. It happened to me in 2015. I used Joy of Satan soul dedication ritual. It was a very short ritual. It's a very short ritual. So it basically comes in two parts. One part is denouncing Jesus Christ. The other part is delivering your soul to Satan. So I did this ritual. I prepared. So how did I come to this? So we already said that that Matrix is controlled by fear. So I asked myself, what is that? What I fear the most? And somehow I got to the answer, to the collective answer. It's not the fact that what I, as a person, am fearing the most, but the question is, what are we as a species, as beings of consciousness? What are we being as human, as people? what are we afraid the most of? So it was very obvious to me, it was Satan, it was the devil himself, it was the void, the nothingness, the absolute destruction of the soul. You know, the absolute fear of dying. Dying, after you die, another death, then another death. The infinite death. This perfect death. It's very natural that the robotic mind is doing anything it can to avoid this line of thinking. So it became obvious to me that the exit from the matrix is through the devil. It's nowhere else. It's a narrow tunnel, or a wide tunnel, whatever. I care. It's a tunnel, black tunnel. Looks like a black hole. You know what I'm talking about. And Buddhists also knew this, of course, and they called it Sunyata, the black star. And that, what the black star is also a misguided representation of our robotic minds. Because our inverted minds trying to convey the message of infinite whole in which we are all situated within. So yeah, I became babbling again, I'm sorry.
No, that was a great answer.
So I just wanted to say just one more thing. This day of my enlightenment, what really happened, I took this ritual from Job Satan. I utilized it. The whole ritual lasted for 10 whole hours, maybe more, 10 to 12 hours do you understand? 12 hours of ritual. It was condoned in my apartment. I was alone. It was Sunday. And it went like this. For the first 2 or 3 hours, 3 full hours, I'm sure, I was cursing Jesus Christ and his Father, God, Jehovah. I was cursing them so hard. I never cursed anything so hard. It's really hard to explain. I did it in the most dirty way imaginable. So I did not use any of ritual paraphernalia. I was just using my own naked body and my will and my expressions of my face, my voice, my body. I was doing it crazy way. So after about 3 or 4 hours, I don't know. It was a long time. It lasted a long time. After I felt I murdered Christ. So I did not murder him. I just like stoned him. I pushed him away. I said, go away. Don't come back. If you come back, I will stone you again. I'll fucking, I did all possibly humanly I could do. I pulled out the most disgusting treatment I had for anyone. And I aimed it towards Jesus and God, with the intention of them leaving me alone. Absolutely. So after that, I took a shower, and I came back into the ritual room, and I shouted to the void. I wanted to be heard. I wanted all dragons of the void to hear me, all the demons, all the things and monsters in the void dwelling there, all the gods of chaos. I wanted them to know that my only will is to give my whole soul to Satan. And only thing I want in return is for the gods of chaos and the Satan to be with me forever. I wanted their closeness. I sold my soul for the closeness of devil. And then I took 5 grams of mushrooms. It was my first time to take psychedelics, and I took 5 grams, and I was on a trip of breaking through all the veils. And when it broke, finally, I was God. I was the one. The one God. There was none beside me. There was no one else. I was absolutely God. I knew I was responsible for everything I do, and I am the creator of every moment, my experience. I am the holy child. I am the one, the bornless one. And it was glorious. The fire of enlightenment is beyond all description. It is the singular moment in the man's life. The best moment in the life of man. That's what I wanted to say. Then the most important moment in the life of man, because in that moment I could have looked inside and dwell within my own glory, but I did not do that. I looked outside, and I have seen something I have never seen before, nor have I known about its existence. Outside of me, there was my mother. There was she, the formless, black, shiny darkness. And in that moment of adoration of our primordial mother, queen of all darkness, queen, the darkness herself, I wanted to be so close to her. I was licking the floor, with my tongue. I kissed the floor. I wanted to be so close to her because I knew what kind of a disgusting worm I am. Not a worm, I'm a disgusting man. I'm a disgusting person. Every ego is disgusting. Everyone who thinks he's better than anyone else is disgusting. And I knew this when I saw her, the mother, and I wanted to be very close to her. So I asked her, where can I come? What's the closest place on this earth? Where should I go? She told me, Mother Temple in Spain. And days after that, I connected that there is some Mother Temple in Spain, and there is some man called Mark Allen Smith who built this temple. And I have heard about Mark Allen Smith before on Become a Living God forums, but nothing especially good have I read about him. My perception was that people think of him as maybe edge lord or someone who goes way beyond reason. In any case, people are, sorry to say, but degenerate idiots who don't understand one thing about spirituality. Sorry to say that. What do you see when you close your eyes? Of course you see darkness. No, I see hellfire. Okay, please stop me. It's not my Bible. It's not my Bible, man.
No, that's brilliant. I mean, yeah, I see darkness, but eventually, for a little while, shapes and colors and kaleidoscopic visions come to me. And I close my eyes long enough.
There are workings of the third eye, of course. We could talk was something else you wanted to ask me. Something serious. We can talk about something serious and worrying. We can talk about something beautiful also. I want to speak about souls.
All right. Yes, we can get to that in a bit. I just wanted to really quickly, what was your experiences with Belial as entity, as a god, as the devil, and for our listeners, how can you break down primal craft very simply for those who haven't heard it? Because when people hear the name Hecate and Belial, they think of just some Greek goddess. They don't really know her, and they think of the Goetic Belial, the twin angels in the chariot. No, we're talking about the ancient ones here. Something much, much older than time, older than this universe, older than the universe is.
So, I don't know where to start, honestly, man. I don't know where to start.
Just start where you told me. What is the real name? You can talk about the void, Enuma Elish, anything you want. Really,
Okay, so,
what matters is the numinous. These beings are really beyond name, beyond comprehension. So why don't we just start with what were their first names?
well, I was kind of worried about this first, my public coming out and speaking, because I have really gone really far, extremely far, and I have gone back, and I now know the true names of our true gods. Of course, these names come to me in my mother tongue. Do you understand? In my language.
I'm not asking you to share your mother tongue. Is it okay if we talk about the lore, the lore of Kingu and Absu and Tiamat? Is it okay if we go over that?
We can talk about it. So, before we talk about Enuma Elish, we must take into account that our brains we are not well suited to understand the wholeness of the Absolute and its workings. So we have to know that there are several paradigms which are almost equally valid. So this Enuma Elish paradigm is as valid as the Black Path paradigm and as primal craft. And of course as any anti-cosmic and K-mate current. So, about the Enuma Elish. It starts at the level of chaos. We have, of course, the Abrahamic faiths who start from the level of the demiurgic creation. But this myth starts from the level of chaos, far, far before time and false gods of false light. Starts with chaos and with Queen Tiamat, who is chaos herself. She is the great acidic sea, the great old monster queen.
The salty waters.
So I will speak about some details which are not generally known.
All right.
The great dragon queen was in suffering. So there was a form of suffering even before Christianity, even before anything there was suffering, I assure you, there was suffering before. So it was a very strange notion to me to understand this, but yeah, I found that there was suffering before. And what the Great Mother did then in the Enuma Elish, he poured out the beauty, her beauty. She somehow made separate the horrors and the beauty. Do you understand? And she kept all the horrors to herself, while all the beauty she poured out of herself. Do you understand?
Yes.
Hello, do you hear me?
I hear you just fine. So we
Yeah.
were talking about she essentially split herself in half into two.
She split herself, let's not really in half, we can say that, but she split out the beauty of herself, and she called this beauty Abshu. So she and Abshu mingled together. Horrors and the beauty mingled together, and they created nightmares. That which came out from their copulations were primordial nightmares. These were first souls. So, what I am as an explorer of the occult most interested about is exactly these nightmares. And your show is called Serpent Sermons. These serpents of the void, these nightmares, are effectively Prima Materia, the primal material, Prima Materia. Do we have an agreement about that?
Yes, the substance from which all matter and light emerged.
Yeah. So there is a story in this in Enuma Elish how these nightmares were expanding, and somewhere in these expansions and transmutations and transformations, there happened a light phenomenon, phenomenons of light. These phenomenons of light were loud. They were stroboscopic. You know what stroboscope light is?
Something like kaleidoscopic?
No, stroboscope. That is a blinking light.
Yes, I know that.
Yeah. These blinking lights created a lot of noise, and Abshu could not sleep. He needed his sleep. And he wanted those lights to go to sleep as well, so he might rest. So you know the story. If people don't know that story, they should read Enuma Elish. I should not waste time here on this, but the more important thing to understand about these nightmares is when the Ea, god of light gods, god of magic, when he slaughtered Abshu in his sleep, these nightmares had now nowhere to return. Do you understand? They left outside.
They got trapped on this side of creation in the universe, or what would later become the universe.
Yes, they became, it is extremely difficult to talk about this. I would wish everyone to take part into the greater explorations of the black flame with the gods, with their guidance, to see this stuff for themselves. Because this whole story, this whole divine comedy we are experiencing is a tragic drama, and you are in the center of it. It's fascinating, really. These nightmares, which are these nightmares, these monsters, are in fact the energy. This was most fascinating discovery I ever made. You know that in physics circles, scientific circles, people actually do not know what energy is. You know that. They know what energy does, what it can do. They do not know what energy really is.
That's a new one for me. And I've heard of dark energy, dark matter, antimatter, but this is a new one for me that scientists still don't know what energy is.
Matter, antimatter, fucking matter, these are all shallow concepts actually. These are not spiritual concepts. Let's start from the obvious. People do not know what energy is at all. And I have personally seen the face of energy. I have seen the energy, the units of energy. I know what energy is. So, what energy really is. There are no words for that, but the most close word that we can use to describe what one unit of energy looks like. It's like an enormous monster, a dragon. It must be a dragon. Must be a dragon. There are no other words that describe monsters of such power and magnitude. How do I know this? After I learned from one wise man some tantric exercises, I did a series of tantric exercises. It lasted for a few months, and in one occurrence of 10 days, I did 1,200 deep breaths from my testicles and from my anus. So it lasted, every ritual, this kind of breathing lasted for about 4 hours. And after 10 days of doing this, believe me, something really, I did a heart factory reset. And for the first time, of course, I understood what is the eternal death. I had the feeling of being eternally dead. Do you understand? It was the most exhilarating feeling. It is a really powerful feeling. You feel like you're eternally dead. So you feel like that you are conscious through all of your existence and non-existence. Because of course you know your true nature, which is the devil, which is conscious non-existence. So taking this all into account and being totally opened after these exercises and having this linguistical key, like linguistic key as 2 words, eternal death, I used this feeling to do another series of meditations where I tried to kill myself by striving harder and harder into the eternal death. Do you understand? Conceptually. So it's a series of meditations where I sit and I'm not calm, but I'm like driving a very fast combat airplane, like F-16, like I'm a pilot of F-16, and I'm driving faster and faster into the death. So I was doing this for about 20 days intensely, and not because it was some exercise, but for the first time, because it was so exhilarating. It was extremely exhilarating. To me, it was a completely new feeling. It was not Samvega. Do you know what is Samvega? Samvega is Tibetan emotion, the idea of wanting to get out of the material prison immediately. This is called Samvega. This is the normal emotion which Westerners don't have a word for, but it's a normal emotion that makes people strive for the numinous. It's called Samvega. So this was similar to Samvega, but even harder because it was the expression of my joy. It was simple joy to sit in the darkness and go into the death. So I was going so far out that eventually in the nothingness. Can you imagine that? You are constantly in the nothingness, being in the death, that there is nothing. Do you understand what I'm talking about? I'm talking about the absolute void. So being in this absolute void, but not dwelling in it, but traveling extremely fast, and faster and faster, and going even faster and faster and faster every day, I became aware that nothingness is an illusion, because the light of the ego is so intense that it blocks the truth. So you may be even turned toward the eternal death and the truth, but you will see nothing. You will see nothingness. Nothingness. Nothing. You will see nothing. There will be nothing. But the reason there is nothing is because of the shine of the ego light.
The
so
ego.
I traveled. What?
The ego is like a scale on the void eye. The eye that allows you to see the void, to see what's in this darkness.
Yes, yes. But also the ego is like also we can take it as a Brahman, as the I, not as an I, as a letter I, me, myself, I. Brahman is like a star in the void also. It shines. So this shine of the ego actually blocks you to see what the nothingness is really made of. So in these 20 days of hard meditation, going forwards very fast, somehow I managed to reach the level of the tentacles, monsters, and the old gods. And of course there are no words to describe all the feelings that emanate and arise from something like that. Again, these are the old gods. These are the old souls, the monsters, the dragons, black dragons. They have hundreds of eyes, so teeth. They are extremely predatory looking. And going further than that, there are only more monsters, and they are even bigger. And going further, there are more monsters, and more monsters. They are even bigger. And I spent a lot of time dwelling there, and I watched old gods doing unthinkable things to themselves. So these old gods are what energy is made from. And I must say that this world and its nature, so you see the nature in the world is like grass and trees, and this stuff is all, after you see the real nature of the souls, it's kind of disgusting also. This earth is also kind of disgusting when you see it from the level of the souls. It's formed through the archonic influences, and these archonic influences are tempered by the ever-decreasing intelligence of the demiurge. Of course, nature is beautiful. Of course, we know it, yeah, of course nature is beautiful. But true nature, when you see true nature, then you see this nature as a robotic interpretation. A very bad one.
A simulacrum of what is real. Now, parts of nature reflect, you can still see some of the shards, you can still see some of the previous nature within present nature. Carnivorous animals, things wanting to devour each other and stuff to get bigger and smarter and absorb their life force and everything.
Well,
That animals, you know, lots of like different animals and stuff like that. You got all sorts of different different races and spirits coming in here. And the way I like think of it, like certain animals and things like that, these old ones, these monsters that inhabit the darkness, aspects of them, we see fragments, we see traces of them on the planet, you know, like the tentacles
I
and like
think
the octopi and stuff like that, and like horns and antlers on a goat or a deer, hooves, etc., etc. But that's not the real like nature. Yes, it's pretty and beautiful and everything, but the void it has all that and then some. And I'd even extend this. This is gonna sound really crazy, but the reason why, like some H.P. Lovecraft, why some of these monsters look monstrous and terrifying with the many eyes, the many sharp teeth, and the tentacles and all that fun shit, is because even then our void perception is very young. It's very new, and these very hyper-dimensional, high-vibrating entities and things are going to appear pretty fucked up. Like a lot of Hindu gods having 10 heads and 8 sets of arms and things like that, because it's so much energy. It is so much energy in a small package. The mind literally has to fuck itself in order to see it. And when it does see it, it doesn't the image doesn't fucking load properly inside the mind, and that's why it looks monstrous.
Yeah. The most interesting thing, when you said the image does not load properly, I'm going to tell you just a short story. I had this short lucid dream in which a girl that I fancied, I wanted to sleep with, she showed up in this lucid dream, and we were very close, and I knew it's a lucid dream, and I could do whatever I want, so I started to, like, getting close to her, and out of nothing, I started yelling, "Dragon, dragon, dragon," because I know it's a lucid dream, so it must show me what I want, yeah, right?
Yep.
Even in one instance, I read somewhere in one forum that someone tested the lucid dream by invoking Jack Nicholson. So in one lucid dream, really, I was in this one hotel room, and I said, oh, this is a lucid dream, great. Okay, so when I turn around behind me, there will be Jack Nicholson. And I turn around, and there stood Jack Nicholson. So he asked, why am I here? Why am I dressed stupidly like that? And who are you? And he attacked me. And so the point of it, I knew at that time, I knew that whatever I want to show, to lucid dream to show, it will show to me. So instead of having sex with that girl, I just it cannot be explained. I started to yell, "Dragon, dragon, dragon, dragon," because I knew that than sex, more than love, more than anything, I actually wanted to see a dragon. I don't know why. I don't know why was it in me. This was before magic. This was a lucid dream phase. So, what happened? I did not see the dragon, but the whole matrix of the dream shattered like shards of glass. So, what I understood from that dream that, wow, how fucking robotic of my mind is that it could not load the dragon into this level, because my dream knew this was only a small room and the girl, and they already knew that I will have sex with the girl and it's gonna be over. They did not expect me to invoke a dragon, so it crashed. So my system crashed. Can you believe this?
Yes.
It was the first material evidence for me. It's material enough for me because it's my experience that my mind is truly something akin to a computer. It's fascinating. And also, why did I speak about this? Not to say that my mind is a computer, but because this dragon energy is within our blood. It's not in our minds. It's in our blood. Our blood is the blood of the king, blood of the devil. And we have forgot about that. And all the gnosis we need to unlock is already here within our blood. And the system constantly propagates ideas that push us away from realizing that. But it's all in our blood. Belial, as the Lord of Blood, reveals all the ancient secrets. Speaking about the Goetia, I firmly believe that it's a psyops of a kind. So many of these entities within Goetia have been local gods of various populations and civilizations before.
Yeah.
And these entities are extremely potent, extremely strong. Even to this day, time is irrelevant for them. They're very, very strong. So, because of their strength, it was obvious to all mages of the time that they will pour out eventually. They will find a way to get themselves known. So, I think this cult we don't like, they organized this Goetia as a category in which they will be put and held.
I was just about to go there. And it's very fucking funny how we see in the Bible, anytime these motherfuckers, they call themselves the Israelites, the chosen, they slaughtered Canaan after they conquered and slaughtered and enslaved the children of the people they didn't like, Canaanites, Philistines, etc. Their gods were turned into monsters. Their gods were turned into devils. You got all this crazy bullshit about, they're throwing babies into the maws of Molech and whatever the fuck. And like, I actually dug into it, and it's like, how am I supposed to fucking believe that just because some Jew said so? I'm like, and these are the same motherfuckers that are burning their children on a fucking grill to Yahweh. And I'm supposed to believe that they're killing, that the pagans were killing children of Molech and like bullshit. And that symbol, actually, the bull there's earlier cults in the area, they would baptize their children by fire. Not actually burn them, not actually sacrifice their children, but they would pass their child back and forth over a bonfire to bless and empower that child with the Lord of Fire, with the fires of Baal, the void fires. And we even see this in European traditions. The Baal fires were the pagans in May they would hop over the fires. They'd hop over the solstice fires, unharmed, unburned, but as a blessing, the Lord of Fire to bless them. And of course, they corrupted all that, and it's all like projection. Everything that these fuckers say about the pagan gods is what their Jehovah is.
Well, it is important. There are many important things to say, point out. Extremely important thing to know is there are two levels of Maya, of illusions. There is this lesser Maya and there is Mahamaya. Mahamaya is purely alright. It's normal illusion. It's normal experience. Nothing strange. But in this simulated reality we are experiencing under occupation, we are actually being sucked out of our energy and kind of liking it. It's really fucked up.
Regression. Yeah, the longer your soul is in there, if you're not doing the fucking work, more and more problems you're gonna get, incarnations down the line until the soul's like completely fucking retarded and turned into like a total NPC.
Well, you know what retarded is?
Slow.
Yeah. We have the potential that we have. No, I wanted to talk briefly about Malefica. So,
Go ahead.
Malefica is extremely important part of anyone's mind, and it should not be put aside, not used. It should be used. It should be utilized. And it should be utilized until you realize that the greatest Malefica you can accomplish is growing growing harder and better than anyone else, achieving more in God's eyes.
I agree with that. It's just like the best vengeance is your success.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So, our true potential is not only, we are about at 2% potential, I don't know. Our potential is we are really retarded. Because, how can I know this? Because, simply, when you abolish the propaganda and you take into account who are the real gods, when you finally take the real gods into account, and then you make your efforts, the same efforts you made toward any goal, you made these efforts toward the real gods, and you get results that boost your potential so many times. Sometimes it's ridiculous how much power can these true, real gods give you, and what it actually means, and what power really means. I strive to wield the powers of magic, not like some fucking douche-ass homosexualist trying to rule over someone else's mind. Not even trying to rule over my mind, not ruling anything, but only to receive the knowledge of what is and what is not. What is real and what is not real. So all this made me into a hard fanatic of the void. where I learned about real strength, real power. What is power in most real sense? The real power is love. Of course it's love. It's Belial, 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 Belial.
Love.
Belial.
Love is gravity. In fact, love is what keeps our fucking world going around. Love is, there's a big black hole full of love at the center of our galaxy. And I'm not joking. I'm not trying to make a joke about it or anything, but yes, it is. Love is simply attraction, attraction and repulsion. And what does the black hole want to do? The black hole, it attracts everything that enters through the event horizon, and its attractive powers are so fucking strong, nothing can resist it. Not even light. Not even if the demiurge was thrown into our black hole at the center of our galaxy, he would not be able to resist the devil's arms. The devil's arms would pull him in and embrace him. That's how strong its love is. That's how strong its magnetic gravitic attraction is.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
And not only, of course, everything you said, of course. I just wanted to add that what really holds us together, what really holds anything and everything together truly is magic. It is magic. Magic is that which holds us together, which holds everything and anything together. And only this notion will bring us closer to her. And this is the great call. Because in the end, our place is with the mother, our true mother. Our place is not with the egoistical creation of our schizophrenic, power-hungry minds.
I concur. I
wanted to say that we live in a simulation, yeah. We live in a simulation. This simulation is something very similar to Matrix. And have you ever seen the episode of the series called Love, Death and Robots? Have you seen Love, Death and Robots?
I have not.
It's a nice series of CGI short films. One of those films, one of the episodes, episode 7, it's called Beyond the Aquila Rift. It is something very similar to Matrix in the sense of showing the idea of being trapped within a simulation. I think you should see it, because I will spoil this utterly now, so people just jump ahead if you don't want spoilers, but do see it. So I wanted to say that we are being constantly held in circles of experience where we experience parts of ourselves in repeating circles. So these repeating circles of experience give us comfort. They give us comfort to put our minds away from the reality of our real state. Our real state is pretty sad. We are currently being harvested. So there is a really important distinction to say. There is spirituality and there is wider reality. I think I have said this before. Spirituality is I think we all know what is spirituality, of course. But wider reality is extraterrestrials, other happenings in the galaxy on various levels of experience and dimensions of the tree of life. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
So everything that happens on the tree of life anywhere is in the concept of in the wider reality. It's not very spiritual in itself. The real spirituality is about truth. It's not about the experience. It's about the truth. Do you understand that?
Yes, and even
And the truth.
whatever system you want to fucking use for that, like Kabbalistic grid works or planetary grid spheres or shit like that. That's just the local astral Earth and the inner planes there. But ultimately, it's already the same thing. People like doing the same shit over and over and over again because it gives them a sense of it allows them to escape their finite existence, and ultimately what they're doing is they're just being an Ouroboros. They're just chasing their own tail.
Hey, I have become extremely comfortable now. We can talk about very serious and creepy subjects because I know no one of the agents will stick so long to hear about this, what we are going to speak about now.
I mean, this
Can
is...
you give me just...
Yep.
Can you give me just 1 minute to get a glass of water?
Thank you. I was just about to ask for a break. You read my mind.
Okay.
I'll be right back too, shortly. Okay, welcome back to Serpent Sermons. This is the second hour. So before the break, Adam and I, we were discussing the Ouroboros causal nature of reality. And I just wanted to throw out there, there's a big term that's the acausal is really fanned hard upon by the O9A sinister community. And I just want to put out there that acausal is not a place. It is a quality. It is a texture. So a causal system is you put in A, you get B, and you get C in that order. You get one cause, you get one effect. Simple mathematics. 1 plus 1 equals 2. 2 plus 2 equals 4. An acausal system completely throws that out the window. It's a randomness. It's chaotic. You put in a 1, you get a 5 or a 3 or a 10, or you can get all of them at 1 and none at the same time. But that isn't the place. It is a quality. It is an attempt to describe the nature of the void. So a causal isn't the void, but the void is a causal. It's like a texture. So this rug is soft. This universe is causal. You're following me? If the universe has formed, it has a definite form and structure to it. Well, the abyss and the darkness, the primal worlds are unformed and unstructured. Well, they are. They're just more like free-flowing. They appear chaotic to us, but they're much more progressive and free-flowing and not really like bound to linearity. Adam, all yours.
Speaking about causality and acausality, let's say you said that causality is following in the certain logics, but acausal is more like random. But I must say this randomness is in actuality the instinct and the guidance of the dark gods. I know this because when I do my best, when I apply myself in totality at the best of my abilities into the rituals of the black flame, it makes my body contort in a very unsystematic, but at the same time extremely logical way. Logical in a, not in a way we could document this, but it would be extremely long document because the body instincts, they show you this yoga poses. I call this practice dark yoga, horror yoga. I use this myself. I'm only practitioner of this art that I know of. It's something akin to Tantra. I do it all alone. And it is extremely powerful copulation with the void. So I let the acausal currents flow through this, and it makes me enter the very healthy positions, which I would never get into if I was following some causal stream of exercises, you know?
And that is why machines will never be us, will never be man, because they don't have souls. The soul isn't from this fucking place. It's from the astral, some fucking higher. And then the spirit is from the fucking source, the void. I want to throw this out here.
Sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to throw this out there. When I read The Black Path and other books there that say to fuck the soul, do away with the soul, The two I only know of, Demogorgon by Valentine Scaver, Res Satanae, and The Black Path by the Azadini Tarika. Put the soul to death, fuck the soul must be destroyed. Soul ain't what we're taught it is. When I purposely chose these words in there, you are not Casper the Friendly Fucking Ghost. It is our own conception of the soul that is the problem. That's the egoic problem. But the soul is like, I think of the soul as like a miniature void. Because Martin Heidegger had a very revolutionary philosophy on existentialism, that we are like living in the void, and essentially there's no essences. So when you die, you are like unsewn, and then when you incarnate, you're sewn back together, because in a way the human soul is like a miniature void, a microcosmic, even though people don't want to realize this or not. And I think this is why a lot of people are fucking afraid of death, because a lot of people fear death. And I even remember having this fear. Like, I would be in like Catholic school, and I would ask around, and I would ask like the teacher and shit, well, what the fuck do atheists believe happen to you after you die? And the teacher said they believe you go to sleep. I'm like, go to sleep? And then like my mom would tell me, and then this other Catholic would tell me, oh, you just go into a big black hole, you just go into blackness. And I'm like, oh, that's so scary. Like, but then and then I think I read in Gilles de Laval, it was a book where he dissected he made like a cipher for the name of Satan, like a satanic version of the Shemhan Mephiresh. I think it was called the Sefer Yirach Ruachot, a 26-letter satanic name. And in the Sefer Yirach Ruachot, Gilles de Laval said that when you die, the soul you re-enter your own infinitude, your own infiniteness. So you're already unlimited. You're already unbound. Your mind is a lot bigger than you give credit for. But once you die, you are confronted with your own boundlessness. And I think that level of fucking freedom frightens a lot of people, because you and I both know robots don't give a fuck about freedom. Robots fear freedom. They don't want it. They want to stay small for as long as possible.
I wanted to say something about souls. First of all, this whole spirituality thing, it is really simple, but at the same time it is extremely complex. It is far more complex than normal people would like to believe. As for the question, where does the soul go when you die? Really, there are so many different life expressions that I have been to the Kingdoms of Flames. I used the book that Acausal wrote, The Kingdoms of Flames. It's an excellent book, it gives excellent portals. And I have delved deeply into the Kingdoms of Flames, and I've seen these... at some instances, I've seen these groups, not groups, like a river of people. There were dead people, dead people. It was like a river of people. It's not a real river, but just to show, just walking slowly, like tourists going through some part of hell. There were various people, children, old men, women, all kinds of people, but they were dead people walking through hell. And there was some portal, and they went from hell to some other place. So at one instance, on accident, I've seen a large group of dead people going somewhere. What I wanted to say with this, there are really many paths that souls go through many different paths. It's not the same for everyone.
And what you do in this life fucking matters. Because if you just be on the sandline, be an atheist or Christian, Muslim, whatever the fuck in your childhood religion, because you're too afraid to follow your own heart, to follow your own soul desire, you're gonna end up with a shitty NPC afterlife, because the astral world reflects the physical world.
These are NPCs in afterlife.
If you want a good afterlife, you gotta live life here. If you want to live in the afterlife, you have to live life here first.
Well, I concur, definitely. Well, so what I want to say is that I think I have a perfect understanding of souls in a broad sense. I have a perfect broad understanding of souls. I was blessed with this knowledge. So it's so to put it in most simple ways, there is three levels of soul. Three souls. Do you have 3 levels of souls? I think each one of us has 3 levels of souls. It must be. So the first level of soul is that which people only think the soul is. So I think most people think of the soul as this light aspect of the soul.
Casper the friendly fucking ghost. Bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Casper only on the Yesod level. It's, well, on Netza level and Hod level, it gets more abstract. So, but it's still that which Jews call Ruach, and it's susceptible to programs. So this is only the first level of the soul, and of course the king of this level is Jesus Christ. That's 5th level of the heart. So, but this is only the first level of the soul. The second level of the soul, that which is your true soul, is the serpent, your black chi, that inner black core that flows through your inner being. You know of the Ida and Pingala and Sushumna, the names of the energy channels in your body. So you have Sushumna as the light energy channel that goes through your spine. So within this Sushumna lies the black pillar, the void. We have extremely thin pillar, black pillar, going through our bodies. Extremely thin and long. This is our black pillar. Through it, the original souls, our soul, our real soul, which is consisted of millions of serpents, flows through us and gives us life. This is the second level of soul. So this soul level, second level, these serpents are the Prima Materia. This is that on which Vishnu sleeps on. They are the monsters and the primordial gods of the void. And what is the third level of the soul? It is the oversouls. The oversouls are the almost unfathomable, extremely old children of the void. And you have your first level of the soul, of course, this is your Ruach level, this is your tree of life. You also have your serpents, and you have your other soul. Unfortunately, most things, some things I say sound really narcissistic, maybe egoistic. It's unfortunate, really, and I deeply apologize for that. But as far as I know, I think I'm the only one who cracked this one through completely. So these oversouls are something that is really not talked about anywhere, except very long time ago. Oversouls are that where we belong to. There exists the abode of oversouls in the void. There is everything in the void, and then some, like you said, and nothing, and then some, yeah. But somewhere in the void, there is our home, our specific home. These oversouls that live there are the oversouls of humanity. These are the souls of humanity. Do you follow me?
Yes. Have you seen them? What do they look like?
They look like, this will sound strange, but they look like extremely large fish.
That doesn't sound crazy at all, man. In fact, there's an H.P. Lovecraft story, Shadow over Innsmouth, or something where a man migrates into this New England town, and there's a sea people, or the fish people. They come out of the sea, and he joins them. He lives among them, and he goes down to the sea to live with their god in the deeps. I think it might have been Dagon, or it might have been Cthulhu. But yes, I have heard of these fish people before through Lovecraft. So we know that Lovecraft wasn't insane. No, he had
truth. So Lovecraft was touched by the old gods, of course. But in my personal development, I opted to avoid Lovecraft and his writings completely, but to take into account the existence of the old gods, and through Belial and the workings of primal craft, understand the nature of these things. And also, I have seen them personally. I have personally witnessed Shub-Niggurath, for instance, for 40 days did rituals for Shub-Niggurath to understand her nature. And let me tell you, Shub-Niggurath is everything that crawls, everything that moves, anything that moves in this earth, and not only this earth, but in all these realities. So every worm, every bird, every sloth in every way, everything that moves and crawls is the body of Shub-Niggurath. This is how big these old gods are. We have no conception and measure of magnitudes to understand how big, how powerful, and how close to us these old gods are. I have heard many great wizards, and including even Coeting, I think he said that these old gods are alien looking. These are, so far trans-Plutonian, far out. Yeah, we can say that they're alien, but at the same time, they're more close to us than any person can ever be to you. These old gods are so close to us, they have us in their embrace. They had us through all time.
They are friends. And I'd go on an extension and say that that's why you have these animist traditions, why you have the Goetia and all these different astral critters. The old gods know to themselves that they are way too fucking big to work with most men. They can work with few highly gifted souls, like yourself included, or Mark Allen Smith, or some other dark sorceress there, but they have to send messengers for the evolving souls that aren't as evolved there. So they sent the Goetia, they sent the different spirits and monsters of the animist traditions there, and we have such a beautiful multi-cosmos of chaos out there. It's all around us, and it loves us very much. And what the fuck do we have people today? We have this loving void. We have all these amazing monsters and amazing cool creatures and old ones and everything. And what does man do? He invents a fucking Jehovah or a Yahweh to separate himself from all that because he's afraid of it. If you're ready now, I'd like to transition and just unpack a little bit about the enemy. What the fuck the demiurge is, what the fuck the demiurge cults are, the control system, what we're up against, what has taken us out from our void, what has the vanity that has separated us from our true gods and goddesses and our patrons and put us into the fucking robotic machine world.
So, it's a line of questions, extremely complex to understand. To explain these things, it's extremely hard. Because, first of all, we must begin with. First of all, shall we talk from point of spirituality or wider reality, my friend? We must make this distinction, because I cannot speak the truth. I cannot speak the truth. I want to, but it is not possible. Believe me, it is not possible to speak the truth, because I must be in some kind of ego. So, if we want to speak about the enemy as in the terms of this clan and control system and the wider greater controlling forces above and beneath, this is wider reality. But if we want to talk spiritually, it's a different story.
You can just talk about what you can, wider reality.
Okay. So, first we must understand that we live in a jungle. We do not live in a civilization. Civilization is a great illusion. Not the greatest illusion, but one of the great illusions amongst the others. Civilization is the idea that we have a set of rules which assure our safety. Is this short enough to explain what civilization is actually? Inside this safety, we explore and evolve culture. Okay. So this civilization is a great illusion, and it's extremely dangerous to live in if one is forgetting that jungle has never ceased to exist. So we have the predators who are extremely well organized and hunt in great packs. So this rise of technology gave them extreme advantage to practically harvest human energy. In wider context, there are species in higher dimensions that let's say that we are on dimension 3, and on 4th dimension we have these space bugs actually.
Yeah, so we are not at the top of the food chain, obviously, like man egoists you think it is. We're actually like 2 or 3 links from the bottom, if we're lucky. There are things above us that are a lot more predatory and dangerous, that that can do whatever. Gray aliens, reptilians, insectoids, you can name a million different things, but go on.
Well, I would not name millions, but I would just name 3. I have never, in my occult practice, found any reptilians. Really, okay. I have not. But I have been led to the bugs, the great insects of the earth. Really, inside this earth, there are so big insects that you can't imagine. I mean, you probably could. It's not unimaginable, but they are like a bus. So giant. So these insects are extremely old. They're not like what we think of the insects are. They have really big brains. Big insects, big. They have these this kind of power, they can somehow influence the levels on which we also live. So you see, we as humans, we operate on the whole tree of life at the same time, but we are basically most aware of the Malkut level. And Malkut level is on the surface of the earth. This is from spiritual perspective and from the perspective actually of time. Malkuth is in the past. So we live in the past actually. So when we use the ego mind, we use the slowest form of intelligence, because it only reflects the state the body is in and what. So what I actually want to say that in this Malkut level, in the past, we are always behind the greater forces that predate us. So these bugs have the access to some levels like Yesod, which we have cut ourselves off from. And they can do their stuff while we basically just operate in the Malkut level. So we have brought ourselves down to the 1/10 of our potential, somehow purposefully. So there is this, like in a movie, like in a cartoon, it's funny, but when I wanted to find out more about the nature of this cult, I aimed at their leader. I know it would be a stupid thing if I wanted to know the nature about the United States, then to go find out something spiritually about their president. No, it doesn't work that way. But funny, in Israel it works exactly that way. If you want to know something, go to the Benjamin and Miss who else, you know? He's extremely important figure, very long there, very long time ahead of the state, and not only head of the state, but before that, he was at 28 years old, he was MIT graduate. He was from Middle East. MIT graduate. What do you think, Cody?
Yeah.
You tell me, how high is MIT?
It's
what
not.
do you think about MIT? What is that school?
You mean the Massachusetts Institute of Technology? It's a hard fucking school to get into. That's all I know. It's a hard fucking school to get into. Like you have to have like an IQ of like 135 or 40 or higher. You have to pass a lot of tests, jump through a lot of hoops. You got to have families that got money and connections to get you in.
Sure,
it's as hard to get into as like Harvard or some of the other fucking schools.
Thanks.
You know?
Sure. So I watched this public presentation that Benjamin did in front of many generals and even some Palestinians. And he was the youngest person there. He was 28 years old, and all the other people were basically challenging him, and he was throwing them off constantly. He was victorious in every argument, even with the Palestinians. He said something like, well, Palestinians never asked, I never heard from Palestinians that they talked about the creation of the righteous country, you know, but I heard them about throwing Jews into the sea at 67. So, Palestinians always said they were Arabs, they're Arab nation, and Arabs have 21 states. Why do we need 22 states for Arabs? No, they created this kind of rhetoric which allowed him to aggressively and in a funny way, like a Hollywood actor, deal with these matters. And I looked in the comments on YouTube section, and man, I was appalled. All the comments were praising him and his ability to speak. His oration ability is really excellent, no doubt about it. Someone said he could outplay any Hollywood actor. I'm sure he could, yeah. maybe, I don't know. But also that, you know, what really troubled me, that it was obvious to me that he's created one. These opinions that he has, it's not only his original thoughts. He is indoctrinated into a cult. And this cult creates this rhetoric, and they practice very hard. They are very organized. It's no one in the world is organized as they are. They put much effort into this collective rhetoric, which they have, organized collective rhetoric. So, in this one, in the phase of my fight with the demiurge, I personally had very intense relations with the demiurge after I saw his true nature. Well, I saw the true nature of the demiurge. It was a long time ago when Lucifer showed this to me. Lucifer, the king of flames, the absolute lord and father of all dragons. I took his hand and he took me on a flight, and we transcended dimensions, and I have seen the demiurge himself, the Jehovah. He looked like a fat, I mean, extremely large, but small worm, a very ugly worm. And he constantly changed his states of being from extremely pathetic to euphoria, to anger, to fury, sadness, then begging, then mercy, then extreme cruelty, then disgust, then love, then mercy again, then beauty, then glory. So, all these states I named were changing in milliseconds. And he's extremely powerful. And this was the first time I've seen the schizophrenia. So I have witnessed the true nature of the demiurge as a schizophrenic form, something that creates schizophrenia. It was truly abhorrent sight to behold. Am I expressing correctly?
No, I completely concur with you. You can open up any old fucking Bible and see the pettiness of this small God of Israel. All these Christian retards are saying, oh, how great our God is. Dude, this fucking chosen land is like fucking smaller than Long Island. And this is supposed to be a chosen land. Small ass God. He's fucking loving the Jews. He's blessing them 1 minute. And all you have to do is say his name wrong. And fucking 10 plagues of Moses. Fucking hailstorm, brimstone rain from the sky. He's mad at you and curses you for 40 fucking years wandering the desert. Yeah, that's a sane God. Fucking total epitome of schizophrenia.
And also, one important detail that was pointed out to me in this vision, where I seen this demiurge, not this demiurge, the demiurge, the Jehovah. When I see him above, this is a view from above. There was this field beneath him, field of grass and cultivated fields. So extremely important to note. I haven't unlocked the message, the absolute message from this, but I think this vision was showing me that he was not essentially that big. And not only that there are cultures outside of him. So I don't want to get into the dark universe now. Maybe some other time. But
Yeah.
one time we must get into the dark universe idea.
Is it okay if I ask? Is it okay if I ask you what you saw in Netanyahu? What the fuck are these people connected to? Just briefly.
Briefly, I went into his body when I was extremely buffed up. If you understand in gamer terms, buffed up, what would mean? I did buff myself up using two extremely strong demons, which sole purpose is destruction of the demiurge and empowering of black magicians who are willing to deliver the blows. So my idea was to go in there and cause some detonations. And I went in there, did the operation, and I was sure about its success, but was unsure about its effect, if you understand. So the second day, I went again to explore to see what have I done, and I knew I'm risking, because after this detonation there was surveillance, heavy surveillance, searching for intruders. So I was very well hidden, and in my surprise I was not detected. So where these detonations occurred, I have seen these portals coming into him like strings. On the end of the strings there was this portal giving him power. So I looked through this portal, and it was very dark, of course, like many portals are. I could not presume what is at the other end, but I knew that whatever it is on the other end is what he is connected to, in a way of giving him power and instructions to act. So I put on myself a very dark form. It was the most horrifying form I could conjure up. It was something like a very violent shadow, which is imitating a black hole. And I slipped through the portal and found myself, and for the first time I did the transportation many times, but this was the first time I went into the other universe. So many times I went into the other dimensions, levels of hell, Sephiroth and Clifford, but not, I have never gone into the other universe. It was another physical universe like ours. I would not say parallel universe, because I don't know what parallel would think. It's like almost the same. It's not all, it's different universe, but totally resembles ours.
Like a different timeline.
Like a different universe, like a different place.
Okay.
Different place.
Alright.
Not connected, different place, just different place. Similar, but different. So this place was, how to explain this? It was, fuck me. Devastated. The majority of the universe was devastated and stripped down of resources. There were enormous spaceships. I've seen this enormous spaceship, but on the planets that were inhabited by different races, I was assaulted with a set of images that were showing me, I was flying through this universe, and these images from the worlds that came into my mind. It was very fast. They all changed. These images showed this people in chains, not people in chains, various creatures in chains. And these creatures were all stripping their own worlds from resources, giving everything to this some kind of monumental system, which is building these enormous buildings. It all looked extremely similar to the communist ideas.
Holy
of
shit.
buildings.
So literally
And-
Half-Life 2, the fucking Combine. If
Well,
you
let
if
me
you
just
haven't
finish for-
if you all right, I'll let you finish. I'm so sorry. But I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
I will just finish this. I'm sorry. When I was viewing their spaceship, it's extremely large, and it had this energy signature of 4 great ideas. One of them is like communism, the other one is robots, artificial intelligence, and I'm sorry to say this, I really am gays, homosexual energy, and ego, the one God. So combinations of these energies is what consists this predatorial parasitic force.
Well,
which
not I
has
wouldn't
found-
maybe not gays, but definitely the pinko communist gays, what they've made of it, because third sex does exist. There is a real Gentile pagan third sex community, but not what they fucking made out of it.
Well, just to make things sure, guys fucking each other's asses, I think that's just great. That's all right. But something sinister, politically sinister, is going on in gay agenda, homosexualist agenda.
Communism. It's just another way to spread communism.
Yeah.
Not that
destabilized.
not that same-sex relations are wrong or anything. Love is love. I don't care what 2 consenting adults do, but the way that these fuckers are weaponizing it. Sexuality has been weaponized. Economy has been weaponized.
You have this KGB agent, ex-KGB agent, speaking of destabilizing a country, which is a process that takes, 50 years or less, I don't know. In this process, they are utilizing first the civil rights, freedoms, rights of gays and lesbians, feminism. They are actually weaponizing these liberal ideas and using them as a way to destabilize the whole country. So it's a very well thought out system, but people are so slow in their minds to understand or even to care about the greater agenda. So it's, I don't want to get political anymore. So, the idea here about our resistance to the enemy is we can always take into account what the fluffy bunny types talk about, love and light types.
Hate to interrupt, man. Is it okay if I add this in here? The reason why I asked you the previous question about what you saw in the enemy is because Maxine Dietrich of Joy of Satan Ministries, one of her sister websites exposing communism, or it was Death of Communism, before the site came down, she described in detail what this fucking shit's all about. Like, she said that Satan or Lilith told her that communism came from out there, that communism came from another galaxy or even another universe, and she had visions of communist planets where it's all just literally cattle, just slaves with like no face, it's just a number. It's pretty bad. It's bad shit. Communism isn't from here.
So let me tell you, there was this Rabbi Lightman who.
Yes, I've watched him. Yeah,
And he said they are commandos from the other world and using Kabbalah for the last 200 years to get into
I know
contact
exactly
with
what
the
you're talking
mother
about. I saw the same fucking video. Yeah.
Thanks, man. I'm so glad I'm not the only one who saw that shit.
Anyway, I hate to spoiler alert. If you haven't played Half-Life 1 and 2, you have to fucking play Half-Life.
I played it, but I never understood it.
It's basically space communists. You're not gonna Black Mesa, which is basically a parody of, guess what? MIT. Dr. Breen opens up a portal to another universe, and then this multi-dimensional, interdimensional fucking like empire, these space communists fucking invade Earth, and they completely subdue Earth in like less than a day. They call it the 7-hour war. And all the countries surrendered. And in Half-Life 2, there's these giant like towers and things that are like made of like rare earth, like extra dimensional metals. It's called the Citadel. And these guys have all like technology that like completely outmatches human technology to one. And like it's a completely Orwellian system. But this Combine like takes over his entire planets. They're an interdimensional empire. They take over entire worlds and shit. And what you're describing completely reminded me of Half-Life. I'm like, oh shit, it's not just Valve. It's fucking real. It's not a video game. No. It's fucking happening.
This is happening. This is wider reality. But there is also a spiritual reality, which is in fact the true reality. And in spiritual, when we take spiritual revelation into account, and we must do it, because we must take magic into everything. When we think about things, when we go deeply into the communication with the numinous and the center of it, for those lucky ones who hear the real source, who commune with the mother, with Hecate, or with Krishna. For those of them who do not know, Krishna and Hecate are the same. It's a strange notion even for me, but yes, they're the same. And even these idiots, robotic imbeciles, parasitic cretins, even they are somehow in a way which we do not understand, part of everything. And we should definitely, at least not us, we, the black magicians, should not get into the fear, because there are ways, the ancient ways of spiritual warfare, which have been utilized on various worlds, awakened by the old gods. And they are always offered to all and everyone with consciousness to understand. And now we are at this point, and we are lucky to have Mark Allen Smith, because he is the true gatekeeper appointed by the Queen and chosen in this time to be the gatekeeper. Do you know what gatekeeper is, what a gatekeeper is? I think that gatekeeper is the single and the highest rank in spirituality. I thought before that guru, I don't know what the highest, but no, gatekeeper is the highest rank. Do you understand this? Did you understand this before?
Go on.
Gatekeeping. Do you know what the gatekeeping is in spirituality? Have you ever heard of this concept before?
It's a filtration. You can't just have the profanes or whatever come in. It's a different degrees, different filters, rings of fire of initiation. Only those that have fucking proven themselves who get to the other side.
Yeah. Well, yes, absolutely. In a broader sense, in a more radical sense, gatekeeper is the one who can truly say what is and what is not. Now you see, this whole communism thing, I will not get, I don't want to talk too much. I I'm talking too long, but I just want to say that people of today have this notion of being themselves. You know, the idea of being yourself as original thinker, being yourself. I know what I'm, you know, yeah, nobody's going to tell me what I'm going to do. Yeah.
So original. All my opinions are from CNN and the fucking Daily New York Daily Post, LA Times, and NPC News, and all these other fucking rags. I'm so original, such a free thinker, man. I listen to redpilling. I listen to John Lemming. I'm such a free thinker.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm getting tired. What were we talking about?
Spiritual warfare. Let's get into some solutions. How can we give the enemy a fucking pummeling? How can we give them a fucking beating? I know the reverse Torah rituals is one method.
Okay. First, and the most important method is through consciousness, because Jews are firmly relying on the idea of being mentally slow and lazy. This needs to be, this is what I said, this sentence that it needs to be pointed out really frequently. The key is consciousness. So, what is consciousness? How to understand consciousness? How to fuck around 10 years in trying to understand consciousness? Well, it's really easy. Understand that Lucifer is a code. One of the codes for the primordial consciousness. Apply yourself deeply into the ritual with Lucifer. Or, at least, grab his hand. Now, and anytime it comes into your consciousness. So, what am I talking about? You can do a ritual with Lucifer. Do as much as you can. Do them hard. Inflame yourself with prayer. I've always said that. It's one of the rare things I take him for good. So, Lucifer is definitely answer and help and will utterly destroy any and every parasite. It will completely abolish all the influences, all the curses put on you, absolutely will massacre everything that would cloud the light of your fiery consciousness. So Lucifer is the answer number one, the first answer, the best answer, the absolute fucking perfect answer for everything. This is the first thing. So what would be the other answer? Belial, of course, Belial. So what is Belial here? Well, first of all, Belial is the name of the devil. The devil has many names. One of them is Azazel, beautiful. You know, everybody knows. So, what's the catch here? Well, you see, these parasites are feeding on our life energy. This life energy is coming from our blood. It's propagated through our blood. This blood belongs to Belial. He is the king of blood, the lord of all blood. It is his blood. My blood is the blood of the devil. So is yours. So is my father's, even if he does not know that. So, through this blood comes the ancient knowledge and closeness with the very father, mother of all souls, progenitor of the very energy that these that all life is dependent on. And these idiotic reptiles, no, I'm sorry, I want to offend reptiles, I'm sorry, so you tweet. These parasites, that they are so dependent on our energy that, how can I put it? When you get good with the devil, you get around the whole system and you get behind them. And you can meet them even in their own territory, but they are practically they can do nothing to the devil. I'm starting to stutter every time when I get close into this. So the Belial will definitely, the powers of Belial will absolutely abolish all of these parasites. To put this succinctly, have you seen the film Alien? Alien 1 and 2, of course, you know, I'm sorry. Everybody has seen this, of course. So, in this movie, the parasite aspect is that which comes onto your face and puts a plant into your, put this plant into the chest of
the face huggers.
Yeah. And this is where the alien develops, and then he bursts out from the chest, and this process kills the man. Let's say, okay, this is how it's portrayed in the movie. In my experience, in reality, the trick is, you see, we are all entrained to accept love and light as, you know, acceptable mode of living, while darkness and creepiness and predatorial ideas are something to be afraid of. Well, when you open in your potential the power of this kind of predatory force akin to the alien from the movie, this scares away all other things, because this kind of horror that you can invoke through the Father Satan is far greater than any other horror these things can, you know. So the difference in power and magnitude is so large that the power of Satan will abolish all other predators. So that's the second way to defend. The third way to defend is light magic, through light magic. So I will always say, I must say one important, very important recommendation given by Lucifer. It's almost a rule for us. So for all dark magicians, human dark magicians like you and me, there is a rule. However many dark rituals you do, 2 times as much you must do light rituals. So, no, 3 times as much. So 1/3 dark, 2/3 light. This is the right way for us to perform, because it's difficult to navigate, to stay balanced. So to stay balanced, we should do 1/3 dark magic, 2/3 light magic. And here lies the great problem of black magicians, especially those who have still unsolved problems with the archons and the archangels, and of course with the demiurge himself. And this here is the line where I must either stop speaking or say that demiurge ain't that bad. Because it is extremely complicated question of spiritual warfare with the demiurge. And I can talk for hours, or I can say in one sentence what would be the absolute fucking best thing for anyone and everyone to do in the question of what to do with the demiurge, or how to behave, or, you know, what kind of relationship with the demiurge should anyone, including black magicians, have. So I can talk for hours about this, or I can tell it in, I can say it in one short sentence if you are prepared to hear it.
One sentence, I guess.
You should treat the demiurge as an angel. Angel. Demiurge is not God at all. Satan is God. Belial is God. Demiurge is a first angel. He is an angel. He's not God. He's an angel. He's a little retarded. He's an angel. He's very good. He's an angel. He's beautiful and an angel. So, any other way of perceiving him will give you troubles. Try it out. Try anything out. I have attacked demiurge with spiritual spears from above. Spears of light, spears of darkness, spears of fire. With great weapons, I have caused him much harm. And also I have vampirized the demiurge. I have never been so high, so much power, so much energy from his pieces, when vampirizing him, when causing him damage. But be assured that he gave me back all blows in life. So he didn't forget anything, he didn't forgive anything. We were just in this fight, me and him. And it was very visible in my life, in all my occurrences. It is very unwise to fight with the demiurge. Very unwise. On all levels. There is more important fight, and this is of evolution of the soul, and balancing the soul of the world. And fighting with the demiurge, paradoxically, is creating this chaos on Earth. The only way to defeat the ruling of money. So actually money rules this world. So the only way to defeat this is to walk the God's way, the God's path, the right path, the true path. What is the true path? It's the path of your heart. Your life, the life of the human is a drama. It's a great drama. You remember I was talking about the 3 levels of the souls. 3 levels. First level is this light soul, ruach, light soul. This soul is consisted of drama. Drama. You understand? All 3 of life is drama. So I think, I don't think. I know that the best way to your drama to be told is to be told by the devil. And what are these parasites doing? They are producing this kind of liquid, which is reflecting, which is somewhere on our third eyes, reflecting our projected realities of ourselves, our drama, various levels, and feeding this back to us in loops. In these loops, we get frustrated because of our soul stagnation. these frustrations are creating kind of energies which they are feeding upon. When our soul is on its right path, then it creates kind of energy that suits us, that heals us. But when we are put in the situations which frustrate us and we give in to the frustration, then we become a feeding ground for these parasites. So to fight this force, we will not, we can only do it on the individual level, on the soul level. I don't think we can do it on the surface of the world. In this great show of great world powers, I think the Third Reich was like the last try on the surface of the world. But we see that any conflict on this surface, and every conflict only creates more confusion. People are too confused now to even serious critical thinkers are too confused to consider Satan as the beginning of the truth and purpose. One most important thing I must say, that truth is filled with purpose. This is important. Now, I think, what is the reason why should you strive for the truth? It's not about committing suicide, to dwell in the void forever. It's not about that. It's about the purpose. But this purpose cannot be told by words easily. Must be felt. And it is strongly with the dark gods. People have no purpose now. Am I still on?
Yeah. Their
I
purpose
will say just one more important thing.
Yeah.
This is also not really, I've never seen this before, so but this is how it is. So when you speak with me or with anyone else, with people, when you think about people, when you speak with people, when you speak with other people, you speak with yourself. When you speak to me, you speak to yourself. When I speak to you, I speak to myself. When I think about my father, because every one of us is the same guy. Beneath everything, primordial level, we are the same guy. We understand this. There is a concept of Babaji. Babaji. Have you ever heard of this?
No, what is it?
It is the first yogi. So, it is the idea of the incarnation of the pure consciousness in the man, and this pure consciousness is like base of consciousness in every man. Not also man, but in also every beast, woman, every cat, and every frog, you know. So every life has consciousness, all life has consciousness, and this consciousness is all based in the same form of Lucifer, same eternal flame. And this eternal flame is that which burns in every living thing, and according to that, this thing which is conscious male force, a male man force, male force, we are all the same guy. Be you a woman, be you a snake or a toad, or cat or owl, we are all the same guy beneath all. Do you understand this?
Yes.
Yeah. But so also, when you talk with any other person other than yourself, you're also talking to yourself, because your own consciousness of your experiential matrix ends with your skull. There is no there is nothing outside your skull in this matrix. So, this was very convoluted. Have you followed me up?
I disagree. I don't subscribe to solipsism, but I do agree that we're all consist of the same substance, the same cloth. All spirits hail from the absolute spirit, the black spirit.
Okay, I also don't ascribe to solipsism. It's a mystical thing, and I will avoid this for now.
All right.
But what I wanted to say, whenever I speak to other people, I speak to myself. But when I speak to the devil, I speak to the devil, and I speak with the devil, and the devil speaks to me. What I wanted to say, that he truly is the other. He truly is magic. He is not some part of you. He truly is that where truth begins. That's what I wanted to say. He is not an illusion.
That was absolutely fucking amazing, fucking powerful. We're gonna have to. This is so much that we've gone into. We're gonna have to get together again for a future show.
Sure.
Yeah.
Another time. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, no problem. Just to clarify, the otherness. What is otherness? Because we know what self. We all know what self is, friends, family, but this is a truly other. I would have likened it to maybe something like, this is what really attracted me to this sort of stuff right here, this dark stuff, is like, oh, whoopee, fucking Kabbalah, fucking angels, fucking this and that, fucking aliens, demons, all that fun stuff. That's known knowledge. The devil is where the occult truly begins. The unexplored territory. Nobody really knows devil yet. We have some gifted seers who have brought back some of his words and some of the visions that he's shown. But, what is Belial? What is the devil? I say Belial is one of the only beings that is truly occult. This is truly occult. This is occult right here. It's not about fucking grays or about fucking Tree of Lives or fucking Kabbalah or whatever. No. The void, the devil. This is going to require future shows to unpack, but take it away. Any last closing things? What is the devil before we go?
The devil in its nature is the womb of the Dark Queen, in which all the souls have been birthed. In our daily experience, devil is that which is not. I will not get into the general ideas about the devil being the bad in man. That's simply retarded.
That's an autistic way of viewing it. And I think the big problem is because man thinks in fucking Cartesian terms. They think of person, place, thing. Their thinking has been fucking quantified. Our thinking has been objectified, so we think in fucking objects, like fucking puppets on a string, fucking angel puppet on our shoulder, demon puppet on the left shoulder. I'm like, no, that's simply such an oversimplification of how shit actually works.
If you have a moment of concentration, I will try to connect some things. So
Sorry.
you remember of stroboscopic lights.
Yes.
Not just stroboscopic lights. These flashes of lights, these light gods, false light gods. Why are they false light gods? Because their light is not their own. It's not like Lucifer's light. It's not pure consciousness light. It's not original light. It's light which emanated from the pressures in the void. So it tried to retain its form. So it constantly takes more energy, and it blinks. Understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what demiurge is the conglomerate of many flashing lights forming one very strong monstrosity, which is robotically copying its surroundings, which is the dragon, of course. It has nothing else to copy. So, what is the devil in the human lives? It is that which we are afraid of, that which we think that is going to harm us. Why should anything harm us? Well, we are living in a simulated reality. We are not living in the jungle, the base jungle with us base beings of consciousness exploring the world. No. We are in simulated reality where there is pushed fear onto us. And deeply it is rooted in the form of the devil. So we find the devil in various forms, so we unlock our fear, so we stumble onto our fears in various occasions. So why is this fear? Because we are under the influence of parasitic consciousness. What is this parasitic consciousness? This is this fear of death, this fear of not being, this is total abandonment of God.
Yes. The fear of death is the beginning. The fear of death
So
is the beginning of slavery, and it is separation from God. The fear of non-existence is just you're pushing yourself away from God, pushing yourself.
Okay.
But this non-existence is actually quite the best thing, because the devil wants to embrace you, the darkness wants to hug you, and you keep fear and death, and you keep pushing that away. Oh, I want to be me. I want to be separate. Until it becomes pathological and parasitic, and this is exactly what you described earlier, the false light gods trying to keep themselves separate, trying to push themselves away, the blinking lights, pushing...
Yes. And I want to connect this with the concept of otherness. What is otherness? And why are the monsters of the void called them? I will not give an answer, of course. I will just connect some things. So the real truth here is this, that there is the demiurge does not exist, because there simply does not exist the one. The one is an illusion, real fabrication. In nature, there is not one of anything. There's always multitude of things. So, what am I coming to? The devil is the multitude. So, we are consisted of millions of beings, all working together. And each one of us is an organism. An organism, we take the word organism and we don't know, we don't comprehend what the organism means. Organism is the greatest word that could ever be said. It's the greatest superstructure that could be imagined. Organism. Take it deeply into the meditation to understand what Belial is. Belial is every organism. You remember I said about Shukmigura, she's the old god,
yeah.
she's everything that crawls, or everything that moves, but Belial is every organism. Every tree, every ant, every frog, every man, every organism. Through Belial, who is the devil, once on one field, at noon, I don't know, 5 o'clock, doesn't matter. I invoked Belial, and suddenly I had this conversation with microbes. Microbes, my friend. With microbes. I talked with microbes. Do you know how much strange kind of love these microbes in your own aura have for you? Strange kind of love. Very much love. Very, sorry. Much love. It is the multitude. But in our parasitic mind, we are afraid of the others because they might take our fucking energy. This is retarded. This is
just things we don't understand. Oh, that thing looks scary. It might sting me. It might bite me. It might hurt me. Just primal fucking fear and trauma. And I'm not even going to go into the ancient traumas of the past. But yes, we live in a very loving universe, a very loving void, supercosmos, cauldron, and we haven't basically put into place a monotheistic monstrosity to separate us from that truth, separate us from that wholeness.
It's beautiful. You know, hey, one more thing to end. I think this is extremely peculiar, very interesting. It's almost impossible for us to have this conversation, to talk about these subjects on so deep level. It's a beautiful thing, and I thank you very much for you doing this show and doing your efforts to expand consciousness, many people, through knowledge, right judgment, using logic, wellness.
It was a fucking pleasure to listen to you for this past almost 3 hours now, I think, going on. Like I said, there's just so much stuff to unpack here. Well, this requires future shows.
Yeah. So maybe to end everything with some form of suggestion.
Yes.
I suggest all meditators to take into account the maximum force they can exert from their core to their muscles. I think this is maybe the most important thing to know in the occult. Alchemy is the process of cooking your own chemistry. So creating creating gateways of magic inside of you through cooking your own blood. This is done through energetic meditations, which cannot be taught by other people. So don't waste your money. For some, okay, so for extreme success, treat your chakras as their vaginas. Here, I have said it. Did you hear it? There are 3 main chakras. There are 3 dantians. You may treat them as their vaginas on your body. Try to pleasure them. Try to go to the extreme. Concentrate hard. See where it goes. See where it goes. Concentrate hard. Do it. If you're a man, anybody who listens, if you're a man who loves sex, who loves women, who loves touching them, you know, giving them pleasure, who takes pleasure from giving pleasure, who knows how to touch a woman, treat your own chakra, heart chakra, Agna chakra, your forehead, and beneath your stomach, where Svedistana is, or over Dantien, beneath your, somewhere between your your belly button and your weenie. Here. So these three places, treat them good. Okay? It's important to arouse your own energy. That's that. I believe that's all, folks.
That's perfect. That's perfect right there.
Yeah, and the last piece of advice to anyone, work glyphotic magic. Fuck everything and fuck everyone and work glyphotic magic. Braveheart is a great guy. He taught me a lot of great things. But I will not waste anybody's time anymore. We have to go to sleep. Do glyphotic magic. Don't be a wuss. Take it hard. Start from the beginning with the Clippa, Lilith. Make your way through. But if you haven't gone through the Sephiroths, then go through the Sephiroths first, of course. Don't be ridiculous. Use power of the Sephiroths, of course. Meet the archangels. Of course, meet the archangels. Use whatever. You can even use Jewish letters if you want. I even learned the whole Hebrew alphabet. You don't need it. Azazel, through power of the devil, you can do anything, everything you can achieve the impossible. Praise Satan. Slava Satani. Ave Satani. Praise. Also his father, Lucifer, and his mother. The devil is the absolute. The devil is God. Devil is the absolute void, the absolute. He is the absolute, the Tao, the absolute dragon. And one thing that people really can't wrap their minds around is that absolute has mother and father. Also, yes, the absolute has a mother and a father. His father is the father of all dragons. He is the Lucifer, that which we call Lucifer. Lucifer is, yes, Latin name, blah, blah, light bringer, yeah, but it is also a code for the primordial light. And the mother is Hecate. Why Hecate? Why not? Ancient Greeks had hundreds of names for her. One of them is Hecuba, means the birder one, the one which is the most far out. The most far out. That means we are so deep into the veils of the illusions and time that the right true source, the Ouroboros, that's the true serpent, she is that which is the most far out, the unconquered.
Yeah, I think the name Hecate literally translates lady who works from afar or she who works from far away. Something
far
like that.
Away.
Yes.
Far away.
What's a simple qigong exercise or a vibration that one could utter that would immediately attune them to the currents of Belial? That would tune them to these void currents.
So, immediately, I will talk about this in some other.
Okay.
Okay, I will talk about this in more details some other time. But there is fantastic meditation given by Belial. fantastic meditation. It opens the key of magic and absolute connection with dark magic, the source of dark magic. Did you also know that Belial is magic? Hecate is the queen of magic, yes, but Belial is magic. So how to do it? So there is 3 ways to conceptualize the void in the mind. There is no more than 3 ways to see and understand the void for the mind. I will say this again. In the mind and imagination, there are only 3 possible ways to understand the void. If anyone on the earth thinks that he may find a 4th way, may he please contact me and tell me that I am full of shit. But until then, there are only 3 ways to see the void. There are 3 dantians in the body, and also 3 portals of dark magician with the Belial. There are 3 dark fires in you, 3 dantians. So 3 great furnaces. I already said where they are, you can look it up and anything. So these 3 great furnaces also open up with the great visualizations of magic. The first way to see the void is the devouring of earth, the awakening of Behemoth, the great dragon, the falling of all floors, all earth, and so everything is being devoured within the enormous mouth and grinding teeth of the dragon of the earth. So the whole earth is being eaten by itself. So the energy which people gave up, so you can only imagine how people would react if suddenly a giant glow hole in the earth with the mouth of the dragon, or it doesn't have to be a mouth of the dragon, it can only be gaping of the earth. So how would people react? I think that I don't think this is precise. This is the deepest fear people would be able to experience. The deepest fear. So it gives me much pleasure and much joy imagining populations of the world, including all of the nations, all of the being absolutely terrified and fleeing from the devouring of the earth. Now this is opening of the lower dantian. No, opening of the upper of the heart, opening of the heart is done by the second conceptualization of the void, which is that nothing exists. Nothing exists. This takes also time. But heart is hollow, heart is giant, whole. I will not talk more now about this. And in the Ajna chakra, in the center of the head, this dantian, to open it up, I use this, the third conceptualization of the void, which is the creation or the birth of the monsters. So you see the endless stream of birthing of the darkness herself. Or I can clearly see the birthing of darkness. So there is no greater horror than seeing these monstrous forms emerging from one place, millions of them, tentacles, spider forms, scorpions, centipedes, and so many of them that they actually form the very darkness, the Prima Materia, all is consistent of. So these 3 meditations, immediately, this one meditation, which is activation of 3 dantians, immediately attune one to the power of eternal source of truth, No, I'm sorry, I said wrong. Eternal source of truth is Hecate behind all. Her child is Belial. Eternal source of magic and love. Now I said it correctly. Okay.
That was perfect. Again, thank you so much. This is well into about 3 hours now.
This meditation is called, and remember this, 3 black stars.
3 black stars. There you go.
3 black stars meditation, and this is the magical name which I go by also. And this is my magical identity.
Fucking awesome.
So happy to know you.
Fucking awesome. That was some very powerful fucking shit that we just went into this evening, and this is not only a spiritual news channel, but I try to keep these videos solution oriented as well. You know, yeah, we live in a fucked up clown world, a lot of fucked up shit, but here are the solutions. Here's how we do something about it.
Of course, and always know that Lucifer is the answer to all questions.
Yes.
It's highly mystical and magical reality, but it is absolute reality and it is absolutely true. Try it, test it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. In your blood, it's the dragon's blood. Test the gods. I have been conflicting with many people, not really hard, only online. That's stupid stuff. When I said something about testing Hecate, some witches screamed at me, how could I ever say that something that I, puny man, stupid man, how could I test someone like Hecate? Well, first of all, lady, fuck you, because it's my consciousness and my fate you're talking about. So I will risk everything and anything. It's my thing, of course. Testing gods is extremely important because fate is fleeing us. We are every day getting further away from God. We as collective, and God as the true God, the beginning of truth, the trident, the dark reality. So, I honestly forgot what I wanted to say.
That's all right. We're gonna have to have a future session.
Yeah, it's too late. I'm gonna have to go to sleep.
All right. Thanks for coming on here.
Test yourself often. Test yourself often. And test the devil. Test the devil. Test him. That's what I wanted to say. Because in the moment when magic begins, the doubt also begins. When doubt begins, it is the first great sign that magic is coming into you. That's what I wanted to say. And by testing it, you will see extreme changes inside your body. And by increasing your sensitivity, you will know what your purpose is. You will not be lost. This is what I wanted to say. With Satan, with the trident, with the mother, and Lucifer, you will not be lost. That's what I wanted to say and to end it.
Well, in the Sanskrit language, Satan, literally Satan means eternal truth. Satan says Satanama, truth eternal. I'll have to find the words for it, but there's different spellings of it, but it all means truth and eternal, different combinations.
Yeah, and also this reminds me of some other topic. This will be very, very short. But some occultists on the internet tried to explain to the people that the sigil of Azazel, which is Saturnian sigil, is not really sigil of Azazel, but it is also a demiurgic thing. Do you know what I'm talking about? The sigil that that is drawn from the triangle of Saturn.
Yep.
Okay, so this sigil, the sigil of Azazel, is looking awfully similar to the symbol of Anahata.
The heart chakra.
Anahata?
Yes.
Yeah. Anahata means, actually in Sanskrit, it means the unstruck chord. So it's a chord which has not been struck.
The Anahata chakra is the unstruck chord.
Unstruck chord, yes. So Azazel, the Dark Master, the Dark Heart, is the emissary of the Mother. And she who is the most far, she who works from afar, sends Azazel to speak her truth. So Azazel is the form of the devil, which is very lofty, like, no, lofty. It is able to convey the truth of the Mother directly. That's what I wanted to say. So if you want to know the truth about the reality, ask him first.
Perfect.
Okay, now it's really the end of the session. Thanks all for listening.
No problem. Thanks for coming on here.
Sure. Hail Satan, praise the Queen.
Hail Satan. Hail the eternal truth.